What's up, everyone? This is the Lucas Ross Sports Channel, and it is time for my New Year's Six Bowl projections heading into Week 13 of the 2022 college football season. And basically how this video works, I give you 4 out of the 6 bowl games. So I just give you the Rose Bowl, Sugar Bowl, and also the Orange Bowl and Cotton Bowl. And then I give you my college football playoff projections on Friday. So that's how it works. Basically just give you 4 out of the 6 bowl games. Looking back to last week in my bowl games, I made some changes to my bowl games because of how week 11 went, and then week 12. There's not a lot of changes, to my, my New Year's Six bowl projections from this week. I mean, if you look at these, I didn't really make any changes to the, bowls or anything like that. I just made changes to the teams that they are facing. So that's how it works. I'll give you 4 out of the 6 bowl games. So let's get right into it here with my New Year's Six bowl projections heading into the last weekend of the regular season. We'll start with the Rose Bowl. No change here. I have USC and Penn State. USC is a team that, like I said last week, that had to win over UCLA in order for them to remain in the Rose Bowl because they are a one-loss team. And I think they can get in there even with 1 loss on there, maybe 2 losses. But USC is heading to the Pac-12 championship. Close game against UCLA. That was a close one there from the start. And then Caleb Williams played pretty much his best game of his entire USC career so far. I mean, over 500 yards. He looked like a Heisman candidate out there, and I'm pretty sure he's going to be at the Heisman ceremony like in the next month or so. So, I mean, pretty much I think USC is right on the right track. But do they get past a 2-loss team if they have a chance to make the college football playoff? I really don't agree with them getting past a 2-loss team like LSU because LSU has a better resume than USC, and it's going to come down to those playoff rankings tonight. The rankings come out tonight. I'll give you my reaction video to that tomorrow. Penn State's a team, though, that I feel confident that goes to the Rose Bowl at the end of the year. I think this team, is capable of winning out, like I said, for the last few weeks. And I've had Penn State on my Rose Bowl pick for a while now. I think this team goes 10-2 and maybe wins it. I think they do win it because I think they're well motivated enough. This has been a turnaround year for Penn State as well. I mean, this is a team that I think I was not pretty high on coming into this season. And now look what they've done. Ever since that loss to Michigan and Ohio State, they've gotten better as a team. That's my Rose Bowl pick for this week. All right, let's go to the Sugar Bowl. Not a change here, but a change to a different team here. I got LSU versus Kansas State. Now, TCU, you'll probably not see them, on here because I think I'll put them in my college football playoff projections probably this Friday. So, yeah, Kansas State, I think they'll win out, maybe go 10-3 with that win coming into the Big 12 championship as well, and possibly ruin, TCU's playoff hopes. But, I had TCU here last week. If you watched my video from last week with these New Year's Six bowl projections, I had TCU last week. This week, though, I got Kansas State, and I think, just because if TCU makes the college football playoff, this is how it's going to go, I believe. I think Kansas State pretty much is the second best team in the Big 12 conference. I don't really think you can put Oklahoma State or, Texas in that conversation anymore because, I know Texas is ranked in the AP poll, but also, I mean, Oklahoma State got blown out by Oklahoma, so it's not really like I could put them in here. So LSU, another team that could possibly make the college football playoff. Maybe USC has to lose, the Pac-12 championship, and so does TCU. They have to lose the Big 12 championship, and they probably get in there as a number 4 seed if they beat Georgia in the SEC championship, which I'll make a, conference championship prediction probably maybe next week when conference championships are going to begin, next Saturday. So, but I got LSU versus Kansas State. I think this would be a pretty good matchup in the Sugar Bowl. And I've had LSU in the Sugar Bowl for a while now. I just think this team is really well motivated enough to make the Sugar Bowl at the end of the year. I think they do win out, go 10-2, get a big win on the road at Texas A&M this weekend. Texas A&M not been a really good team this year, and I think they should pretty much, go in there with a lot of confidence. Kansas State will play Kansas, their rival, and I'm pretty interesting game there. Kansas has been pretty good this year, but I'm picking Kansas State to win that game, no doubt about it. I just think they are the better team. Let's go to the Cotton Bowl. A big change here to the Cotton Bowl, except for the team that I had them at last week. Last week I had Washington here, but this week I got Cincinnati. I got Cincinnati instead of UCF because if you look at UCF from last week, they lost to Navy, a Navy team that was not really that good this year. Cincinnati, I think, is a team that's getting better and better each and every single week. I mean, ever since that UCF loss, they've gotten back on track, and now they're back to first place. Now, their game against Tulane this Saturday is going to really prove to me that Cincinnati will still remain in the American Championship. Maybe the winner of that game will play maybe UCF. I mean, because UCF both beat Cincinnati and Tulane. So I just think whoever, if Cincinnati beats Tulane, they're heading to the American Championship. And also, if Tulane wins, they're heading back to that spot as well. But the American Athletic Conference is going to be pretty much wide open for the, remainder of the year. I mean, we only got one regular season game left, and it just comes down to Cincinnati and Tulane this weekend. Washington is another team that can, make the Pac-12 championship. Maybe Oregon has to lose to Oregon State on the road, and, Washington probably has to win. If Washington, wins, and if Oregon loses, Washington could play USC in the Pac-12 championship. I mean, they could ruin, they already beat Oregon as well, so I mean, considering if they were tied, at 6-2 apiece in the Pac-12 conference, or I should say probably 7-2, Washington's going ahead because, Washington already won the head-to-head, so I'd say that Washington would get in, but the Pac-12 is going to be a crazy finish to this weekend. I mean, we'll find out if Oregon beats Oregon State, if Washington can survive against a decent Washington State team that's been pretty good this year, but this is the matchup I like to see in the Cotton Bowl. Cincinnati versus Washington, the American versus the Pac-12. All right, to my last bowl game now, the Orange Bowl. I got Alabama versus Clemson. No change here. I had these two teams here last week as well. Alabama's a team that, has been pretty quiet. We don't really think that Alabama's not that capable of making the playoff anymore. And looking at the game against Austin Peay, I kind of didn't really like the way Alabama played in that game. I know they won big in a shutout, but I think they were just focused on their game against Auburn. And like I said, before rival weekend comes around, I mean, it's pretty much, you focus on your rival instead of your, big game, this weekend in the non-conference or actually against another conference team. But I think both of these teams are pretty even. Clemson rolled over Miami. Clemson's got a tough game against South Carolina this weekend. I think after that South Carolina win over Tennessee, I think it will be an interesting battle now because Spencer Rattler looked pretty good, threw the deep ball down the field. But this is a matchup I like to see. Now I think Clemson would win the ACC championship, and they would automatically get in the Orange Bowl. I mean, looking at it now, because North Carolina got beat by Georgia Tech, and I think that will be enough to put them into the Orange Bowl still. Even if they lose the ACC championship, I think they can probably still make it in. Alabama, though, I think, they will beat Auburn this Saturday. Not really a close game, I believe. I mean, Alabama should be rolling over in that game because they got that game at home, and it was a really close game last year, but I think Alabama is just too talented enough. But Alabama versus Clemson would be a pretty good one here in the Orange Bowl. And these are two teams that, that met in the national championship, a lot of years to come, but then things have just been falling apart. New teams have been in the playoff now, and Alabama versus Clemson in the Orange Bowl would be a really big matchup. Two dual-threat quarterbacks going at it. And that is my New Year's Six Bowl projections after Week 12 and heading into Week 13 of the 2022 college football season. We are heading into the last weekend of the regular season. We've come a long way with these bowl projections. And I'll probably do one more next week. I think my next week projection will be my last one before the real New Year's Six Bowl games come out. So we'll see what the college football playoff rankings look like tonight. I'll give you a reaction to that video tomorrow. And stay tuned here for more on the Lucas Ross Sports Channel.